Very good evening to all of you. Welcome to another YouTube live session with me, Srijit Kakkar. Everyone knows what has been happening with the markets because of the coronavirus outbreak. The markets have been crashing like crazy. And yes, this is a very common question I've been getting for the last few weeks. That the way the markets have been crashing now, is it the right time to invest, right? So that is what we'll be talking about in today's session. And before we move forward, let's also get done with the formalities. Just give me a second. So like I said, myself, Srijit Kakkar. Today is Wednesday, 25th of March, 2020. And yes, before we move ahead, let's get done with the formalities. So make sure you people go through the disclosure. You can pause the video, go through the representation, the risk disclosure. The second page again talks about the risk involved in the market and also the copyrights. Now the question is it the right time to invest? So what I'll be doing is, first, to answer this question, I will be playing a small little video. Now the video which I'll be playing is basically I've taken some clips from the older sessions which I have done on YouTube live, right? So those complete sessions are already available in the on my YouTube channel. But what I've done is I've taken small clips from there from two different videos. The link to those videos are also, the link to those live sessions are also available in the description, so you can click on that. You can go back and you can see that it was a session which was done in the past. So I'll be taking those few video clips. It's I guess 2 video clips, and after looking into that video clips, then we'll move ahead and understand whether it is the right time to invest or not. So just give me a second, let me bring up those videos for you. All right, so it's just going to take me a few more seconds to bring it up. Just a second, let's do this. And there you go. So yes, that's the Nifty demand. If you talk about the supply area, now we also have a formation of supply. So this is where now you have a formation of a weekly supply. So now we have both a demand as well as a supply zone on the Nifty chart. So initially, like I said, we were only looking for long opportunities. Now if we see something for shorts, yes, we can even do that. So that's your Nifty on the weekly. Just small little modification. We had a formation of a new supply area which we have now marked on the chart. So the next one is S&P 500. So if you look at S&P 500, we mark this as our demand area. It was already tested once, and now it has been violated. Now something which I would like to add here is that yes, now we have an area of supply. So let's mark this area of supply now. Perfect. So now we have supply, now we have demand, which is good. And let's move on to the next time frame. Yes, but I would also like to add one more thing here. That for S&P 500, yes, I was telling you for the last X number of weeks that I would only be interested in longs. I would not be interested in shorts because some of the conditions I'm looking for, those conditions are still not available on the chart. But now those conditions are available. Now I can also plan short trades. Similarly, if I go to Nifty, you will see that when we were analyzing Nifty for the last X number of weeks, probably till here, I kept on telling you that yes, currently we are only looking for long opportunities. But if you watch the session, which probably is going to be what date it could be, probably Feb. So 3rd of Feb, give me a second, let me check. So I'm just making a wild guess, you will have to see. So 2nd of Feb would have been the Sunday session, right? So if you look at the 2nd of Feb Sunday session, probably that is the time you will see. Even on Nifty, I would have told you that yes, now if you want to plan short trades, now is the time we can start planning short trades on Nifty, right? And right, so the conditions which I look for on 2nd of Feb, we had those conditions for Nifty, and similarly now we have those conditions for S&P 500, that if you want to start planning some short trades, yes, it can be done. All right, so like you can see, in these videos I was talking about when Nifty was making all-time highs and S&P 500 was making all-time highs. The sessions which I was doing, I was always talking about let's look for long positions, let's look for long positions. Then on 1st of Feb, there was a day when I talked about that yes, we were as if now looking for only long positions, but now we have something on the chart which is telling us that we can start looking for short positions. I also talked about the same thing on S&P 500, which was on the 29th of Feb session, and that is why I just played those videos. Now these, like I said, sessions are already available on my YouTube channel. The links are provided in the description, so if you want to go through it, you can do that. But the reason why I'm touching upon it is because can you see when the markets were rallying like crazy, what happens is when the markets are moving up, everyone is in buy mode, right? We want to buy, we are waiting for corrections and we want to buy. But the charts, they always gives us some signal which helps us understand which could be the right time to buy or which could be the right time to sell. So that was the time when Nifty gave us the signal that yes, now if you want to plan short trades, you can start planning short trades. And what was that signal? Let's go back to Nifty. Can you see this is what that signal was all about, that we had formation of some supply areas. So can you see till here we were not having any supply on the chart. So if we see supply, what is the supply telling us? The supply is basically telling us that somebody has started selling off huge quantities. Now we were still not very late. You can see we were still around 11,600 when we did that session. But now the chart is confirming to us that somebody has started selling. And if somebody has started selling, we can see their footprints on the chart. And obviously the person who is selling might not be having very small orders because it's not a supply zone of a small time frame. It's a supply zone of a very big time frame, which is a weekly chart. So that was our signal which told us that yes, now if you want to go for short opportunities, now is the right time. You can see that supply coming into the market because whatever you see on the chart, the price action is always created because of real orders. It cannot be faked, right? So that is something very, very important. Whatever you see on the chart, it can never be faked. It is always because of real orders. News can be faked, but the moves on the price cannot be faked because the moves will always be because of real orders. So that real orders which got executed showed us that now we have supply, somebody has started offloading, and now probably we can also start planning short trades, and that is what we talked about on the 1st of Feb. Similarly, if you look at S&P 500, so where is my S&P 500? It's gone. That is strange. Oh, there it is. Yes. So similarly, if you look at S&P 500, we talked about exactly the same thing on the 29th of Feb, that yes, S&P 500 was making all-time highs. So as of now, I was never talking about planning short positions. But as soon as we started seeing a structure of supply, that was our trigger that yes, if you want to plan some short trades, probably now is the time you can start planning for short trades. And can you see what happened? As of now, prices this week, in fact, just touched our demand area, and from that demand area, it has again started moving up. So these footprints would always be visible on the chart, provided you know how to read these footprints, right? So now when I'm talking about is it the right time to invest? Now, if you think about it logically, see what happens is, if there is a 50% sale going on, 30% sale going on, 40% sale going on, what do? We are very happy buying, right? We'll rush to the malls, we'll rush to the shops, and we would love to buy at those cheap prices. And similarly, if you look at now, probably the markets are at, some stocks would be at 30% discount, some stocks at 50% discount, some stocks even bigger discount. So yes, it is the correct time to buy because you will be getting stuff at cheaper price. But the way the market conditions are, we don't want to be a superhero, right? We don't want to catch the falling knife as of now. Why? Because we don't know how big this fall can be. So what will be my trigger if I want to buy in the market? So my trigger would be, example, when the markets were moving up, what was my trigger that I can start selling? My trigger was a formation of supply because I can see now some big boys, big money has started selling off into the market. This is my trigger. Now I can also start planning short trades. Similarly, if I want to be a buyer now, what will be my trigger? My trigger will be, I will be waiting for a new demand zone to form. So once that new demand zone forms, that is basically confirming to me that yes, big money has started coming into the market. The big boys have started participating. Probably now the markets will bottom out, and that will be my signal if I want to go into investment now. So can you see, this is how you should be always planning your trades. See, it's not that it's the end of the world, right? We will always have opportunities. You don't have to be a superhero and, like I said, try to catch the falling knife. Yes, if the market conditions were not such, we could have still been a little aggressive, and we could have even planned the trade well in advance. Okay, this is where I would like to be a buyer. Yes, in this case, maybe we are trying to catch the falling knife, but can you see, did it work? It worked beautifully as of now. But when the conditions are really, really bad, we also want to be, doing our risk management, trying to get into a more conservative approach. And the biggest problem is you never know, maybe the next day market again gaps down of 1,000 points or 500 points. So that is why we don't want to be superheroes. We don't want to jump into it. We need to have patience, and that patience would be, example, can you see, this is where we were having patience. Okay, let's let the market move up. As of now, whenever we were getting corrections, those were only our long opportunities. But once we saw supply, now we were willing to take short trades. So similarly, as of now, if you are getting some corrections, those corrections will be our shorting opportunities, that if the prices, they move up, they come to our supply areas on smaller time frame, I can still take short trades. But when will I shift from those short opportunities to long opportunities? Once I see that confirmation on the chart, once I see that footprint on the chart that yes, we have formation of demand areas, that is when you can start getting into it. Now, when it comes to other strategies, because I only use demand and supply strategies, so I know wherever I'm looking on the chart, that is in a way logically proving to me that is where we have demand and that is where we have supply. Now, in case you're using some other strategy, maybe using, let's say, moving averages, moving average crossovers, or maybe you're using, let's say, breakouts or some chart patterns, whatever it might be. So again, my recommendation would be, when you're doing something like this and now you want to get into the buy mode, do not buy based on signals from very small time frames like your 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 50 minutes, 60 minute, 240 minutes chart. Don't use very small time frames. Now you should be waiting for those buy signals from some bigger time frames, and that is why I wanted to show you these clips first, that all this was something which we talked about in the past, right? So we talked about the Nifty, we can start selling on the 1st of Feb. We talked about S&P 500, we can start looking for shorting opportunities on 29th of Feb. And just look at the way the markets, they have started moving down, because like I said, the chart always tells you the truth. The chart, on the chart, you cannot hide anything. Whatever orders are executed, they are showing their footprints on the chart, and that is why we can take them as our signals to be a buyer or a seller. So yes, again, is it the time to buy? Absolutely yes. Is it time to invest? Absolutely yes. But not being a superhero, we'll have to wait for those signals to again show on the chart. Once we see those signals on the chart, that is when we can start getting into the buy mode. Now, before we end the session, I'll again add that I do these sessions thrice a week. The Sunday session generally is fixed, but the other 2 sessions, whenever I have time, I take these sessions. So how would you get to know that these sessions are getting conducted? For that, you'll have to subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon and select all notifications. 10 to 15 minutes before the session starts, I start with the countdown timer. You'll get a notification that the session is about to start, and then if you are available, you can join the session live. Otherwise, later you can watch the recording. And yes, if you're liking these sessions, hit the thumbs up button, share it with your friends, share it with your family, and let's quickly see what do we have in the chat box, right? So let's see, do we have any questions, queries? All right, expiry Nifty. See again, Vipul, your question is expiry Nifty, where going? So the fact is, as a trader, our job is not to predict where will Nifty go, or where will gold go, or where S&P 500 will go. Our job as a trader is no predictions. Our job is, where is the opportunity? Simply take that opportunity. Example, when the Nifty and the S&P showed us that yes, now you have the go ahead signal to plan short trades. If you just had opportunities on the lower time frames, you could have just got into those trades and taken those trades. Where it will go, we can't predict it. In fact, nobody can predict it. Our job is only find something which is matching with your trade plan. Once you identify that, just take that trade with a predefined risk. That is all. But I think 3 days have green candles after the confirmed bull. See, as of now, we don't have a confirmation of a demand zone, so we still have to wait for that confirmation of a demand zone. So maybe few days might pass, right? But it's not that we are missing the major move, right? But again, if you try to buy as of now, what if the next day it gaps down? So there has to be risk management, there has to be rules. So based on my rules, like I said, if you go through those sessions, I kept telling no shorting, no shorting, no shorting. But once I saw something which was matching with my trade plan, I had the go ahead signal. Similarly, as of now, once I see that buy signal only, then I'll be getting into buy modes. Otherwise, your corrections are only shorting opportunities. All right, how do demand and supply use in options? See again, demand is where we are expecting prices to move up. Supply is where we are expecting prices to move down. Based on that, you can plan directional trades, you can plan non-directional trades. But yes, you need to have a understanding of options, because even if you're at demand, you can plan trades in X number of ways. Example, you can buy a call, you can sell a put, you can do credit spreads, you can do debit spreads, you can do butterflies, you can do ratios. So you need to have a good understanding of options to decide what kind of strategy you should be applying at this given point of time. But it's just that we are substituting shares or your future contracts just with the options contract. In case of Nifty, we were at all-time high, so there was no supply. But on the lower side, we have demand zone that is fresh and were formed previously for price to come to that previous month demand. See again, Himanshu, like I said, there are rules, right? So in my rules, unless and until things they match, I do not take those trades. But yes, again, if you have some demand areas and you were planning those trades, what is going to happen? Maybe some of those trades will also get stopped out. Why? Because when the markets are changing its direction, definitely the demand will get stopped out. So that is part of the parcel, and that is why we need to have risk management in place, that in case things they go against me, I should know where to exit with a small loss, right? So that has to be there. Zones, we can use that demand zone. All right. So okay, again, when the weekly demand zone forms, does not mean we'll be using that weekly demand zone for the entry. That is our signal that yes, now we can plan trades, but we will be looking for zones on smaller time frames, depending upon what kind of trade you want to get into, whether you want to do hourly incomes, daily incomes, weekly incomes, monthly incomes, different purpose of trades, different time frames. In gap up and gap down, how to use demand and supply zone. So again, Mahesh, we do cover all these things in our courses. So this is where, unless and until you know the complete strategy, applying it would be a little bit challenging. Yes, one thing which I'll add here is that what happens is if you gap up or gap down, we'll try to understand whether that gap is a pro gap or a novice gap. And once we understand whether it is pro or novice, then based on our strategy, if it gets qualified, yes, we use that gap. If it doesn't get qualified, we simply skip that gap. That is how it is going to be. In which stocks we should invest. So again, like I said, as of now, we don't have the go ahead signal to invest. So whichever stock you're interested in, once you see those signals which I was just talking about, then you will have that go ahead green signal that yes, because I can see it forming on my script which I wanted to invest in, and then we'll start investing in that script. So it's not going to be straight away we are jumping into it. Like I said, we'll have to wait for those signals. If you want to be stock specific, yes, you can do that. If you want to see those conditions happening on the Nifty, which is the broad market, you can wait for that. That will completely depend upon your personal trade plan. You are shying away from teaching options for a very long time. When are you planning to teach demand and supply and options? Rahul, see, the reason for that is, one, I'm already doing 7 out of 7 days, 6 days I'm doing the session. So one problem is time. I don't have time because out of 7 days, 6 days I'm already doing session. Second problem is that if you talk about my sessions, you will see that my sessions are, when you subscribe for my course, it is a 30 days course or a 60 days course. Now, when it comes to options, options are not generally intraday trades. Options are trades where you'll have to hold that position for an extended period of time, most of the times until expiry. So what is going to happen is, probably by the time we reach expiry, or 30 days is over, or maybe your 60 days is over. So looking at examples can also be challenging. Plus, what is going to happen is that there are other liquidity issues. Not a lot of scripts are liquid enough. So those are some of the reasons because of which I'm still not starting with the options course, but I have been getting all these requests. So what I'm thinking is, over a period of time, I'll start doing some YouTube sessions or maybe some YouTube videos on options which can help you in understanding options. So that is something I do have on my mind. But yes, that's going to happen sometime down the line. That is what I'm planning, because I know for the doing it as a course, it is going to be very, very challenging for me. So probably I'll be putting some videos down the line on YouTube itself. All right, so that brings us to the end of this session. Thank you so much for joining in. And again, I'll add, if you're liking these videos, make sure you share it with your friends. And yes, if you want me to take certain topics, put it in the comment section. I am noting down all these topics slowly and steadily. I'll be taking these topics one by one. So again, thank you so much for joining in. Stay home, stay safe, take care. Bye-bye.